All right, welcome everybody around the world. Welcome to all my subscribers. So I thought this would be an important message to help share because most people, most Christians want to think that they're going to be amongst the worthy when it comes to the great judgment day, the arrival of the Messiah, Jesus, and all of that. Everybody wants to hope and assume that they're going to be saved, that they're going to be amongst the worthy. And whether you are or not, I'm not here to point fingers or anything. I'm just sharing something I think that is very important for people to hear with the verses to back it up. That even if you are amidst the worthy, like you're one of the ones who's going to be declared worthy and you get to go to the better world, what are you going to witness and go through? Because in all reality, even if you're one of the worthy, okay, especially if you're elderly, like people's grandparents and this and that, there are people who are frail. I don't even think some of them would be able to withstand the sheer glory. And, even though it's beneficial, it's good, and all of that, it will just be so shocking and powerful. And I'm not talking about they're not going to be able to take seeing, the destruction of this earth. I'm not talking about anything negative whatsoever, but literally just the good things that the worthy are gonna go through would be overwhelming. One could only assume to people who might be frail. And I think even the average person, even myself or anybody who even considers themselves, strong and resilient or whatever, inside out or both, I think we would all still be overwhelmed. I think that when these things actually transpire, even just the good things to the worthy, excluding any negative stuff that's going to be transpiring, just those good things could be overwhelming. So it's important for us to dwell on what are we, if we're worthy, what are we going to witness and go through? Why would it be overwhelming? Well, number one is that when Jesus arrives with the final trumpet, which is that, let's leave all the other side stuff out. But when Jesus arrives at the final trumpet, the dead will rise, like it says. Okay, it says that he will come like lightning, very, very quickly. But in probably a dozen or more verses, it clearly says that Jesus will send out his messengers. So he arrives with a fleet of these divine messengers. And when he arrives to the earth like lightning and going across the earth like lightning, he will send out his messengers to the four corners of the world. So what we're going to see are all these heavenly, celestial, whatever messengers. I'm not going to claim to know what they look like. There might be different looking ones, but we're going to see celestial, heavenly messengers appearing. Now, this is for the worthy, okay? And like I said, excluding any negative type stuff that is going on at the time, just the positive things. I'm going to show how overwhelming they will be, okay? So even if the point of this is if you want to believe that you're going to be worthy when this time comes, be prepared to face this still, right? So imagine being there at the final day itself, and let's just say you're not living in a country that's being, affected by all the other negative stuff, right? Like the end days revelation events. Let's just say you're in a place that is just a little bit more safe and protected when it all starts happening. Okay. Now let's just also say that maybe the news networks or the satellites have been knocked out, something like that. Maybe you're not able to get global news and you're not aware of what's happening elsewhere in the world, what's starting. Okay. There would be a period of time where millions of people potentially who are about to be accepted as worthy and taken up, potentially millions of people could be oblivious to what's actually going on, like the actual start of the end of days doomsday events. Because at the very, very start, you're not going to blatantly know what's going on. And even as it progresses all the way through the trumpet, seals, and vials, because they'll take place within one day. I've shown in other videos and in my books plethora of verses which blatantly state it's all going to take place in an hour. However long it takes, an hour or a day, it's going to be one of the two. And it's still a short period of time. So we're not talking about you're going to be there oblivious for days, weeks, and months on end. It's not going to be that. But there will be a period of time in which probably millions, maybe more people who are worthy will be sitting there in their houses or wherever they are. They may not see anything happening out there in the world around them where they live. But then all of a sudden, the divine messengers are going to show up. Okay. And now they might just appear in front of you with light and a fantastic display. They might come down in heavenly vehicles. Who knows? In either case, it's going to blow people's minds. Okay. And this is if you're a good person and you're being accepted. This is what I mean. It's going to be overwhelming stuff. And I think a lot of frail people won't be able to take it. They might have heart attacks. It would take divine intervention to help keep them safe and comforted through these ordeals. And maybe that is something that God is going to grant the people who are taken up at the hands of the messengers. Maybe he's going to bless them in some way. But be prepared, because even if you're going to be taken, what you're going to see is, like I said, millions of people. You could be one of these, might be oblivious that the trumpet, seals, and vials have started. You might be oblivious for that first hour or period of time. You might not know. And then suddenly these messengers appear and they're going to say to you, oh, the time has come. The end of days has come. Jesus has arrived. Jesus has arrived and sent us out to the four corners of the world to gather the chosen who have the seal of God. Okay. So you have to be prepared to hear and see that and go through that, because everybody wants to believe that they're going to be accepted as worthy and taken up at the end of days. Well, if that's what you want to believe is going to happen to you, then prepare for what you're going to witness and go through. That's going to blow people's minds. Even if the messengers look 100% human, okay, it's still going to blow your mind when they appear. They're going to be different because they don't live here on this earth. You know what I mean? They're going to be heavenly or celestial messengers. They're going to appear here. And even if they look human, it's still going to blow your mind. You're going to probably be scared inside. Should I go with them? And this is where I want to reassure people. Nowhere does the Bible say that there's going to be a fake alien invasion or a fake rapture or anything like that. The Bible doesn't say that anywhere. That is unbiblical, but countless Christians believe that hogwash. Okay? You want to believe something that's not even in the Bible. If something like that was going to happen, a complete mockery and copy of what should happen, you think the Bible would warn you about it. Well, it doesn't, because nothing like that is going to happen, right? What the Bible does say will happen is that when Jesus arrives, the messengers will appear unto the worthy in whatever fashion they appear. And when they appear to the worthy, they take those who have been sealed and approved, okay? i.e., they pass in judgment, okay? And you will be translated, okay? Now, that's the next scary thing. It's going to be scary. It might feel good and this and that there, but you're no longer going to be the mortal you that you were. You might look identically the same, but part of you, a major part of you, the part of you that makes you human in a sense, your mortality, is going to be removed. You're going to get a heavenly body. It might even be a bit altered and made better and more glorified. And if that's the case, then it's going to be even more extreme and fantastic for somebody to go through. But that's something we're going to go through. Is it a slow process, a quick process? It might be very, very quick. And all of a sudden, however it works, whether by divine magic, whether by a technology, however it is, and however it does, we don't know. The Bible doesn't specify, but it says we will be translated. That's going to take either magic or some magically powerful technology. Okay, and that's going to be a terrifying thing to go through as well. I could picture a lot of worthy people, when they see the messengers arrive, they rebuke them. There's probably going to be millions of Christians doing that, even though the people are worthy. And the angels, the messengers, are going to be arguing with them. Hey, no, look, we're actually here to save you. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, no, you're demons. This is the false rapture. And the angels are going to say, well, that's not even in the Bible. You aren't warned about that. What are the angels going to do? Kidnap the people who are worthy? I mean, what if the worthy could turn away their rescuers? You know what I mean? I think that's possible. And that's something that I worry about as well. A lot of people would turn them away based on these dogmatic false premises that essentially have come from the dark side to fool people, right? Into not being prepared. That's the reality. The messengers are going to appear. It could just be one appearing to you. It could be a lot appearing to you. That's going to blow your mind. Then they're going to announce to you, oh, you've been saved, this and that there. That's going to blow your mind. It's going to make you very, very happy and overwhelmed in joy and be like, oh my gosh, thank God for that. And then they're going to be like, now get ready to be transformed, and then bazap, and then your whole body is going to be changed. That's, even though it's beneficial and a good thing, that's what we're all hoping for. is going to be a terrifying process. It's going to be, right? And then it doesn't end there, because everything that we know in our life is about this earth. And we're going to be witnessing around us the earth being pelted and destroyed in various ways. And that's going to be terrifying to us. And then we're going to have to all just accept as mature adults, or teach their own, because there'll be children going up too. We're all just going to have to accept as mature souls inside that, well, this is something that we're just going to have to swallow. The doomsday of this earth, but we're going to be taken to a new one. That's going to be something that you're going to have to accept. That's going to be your new reality, saying goodbye to your planet Earth. That's going to be a terrifying thing. Not only that, but being taken up in whatever fashion we are, whether we're teleported up, whether we fly up into the air unaided, whether we're taken up into the air in some type of chariot or whatever. In any sense, however it is we're going up, that's going to terrify you as well. Okay, and then being taken through the heavens, which is where the sun, moon, and stars are, according to the Bible. When we're taken through the heavens to this new earth where the mansions have been prepared for us, that's going to blow our mind as well. It's also going to be terrifying that we've lost the earth that we once knew. We might return to it, but I'm just saying, all of that is going to be huge to go through, and that's what the good, the worthy will still go through. It's going to be terrifying. Nothing but positive and beneficial, but it's still going to be terrifying. But that's why the Bible says, once you've left this world behind at the end of days, judgment, and you go on to the new world, and you enter that blessed world, the former world will just fade away like an unwanted memory, and you won't want to think about it again, because the current world there, the new world, will be so wonderful that you won't want to think about before. See, on this earth, we have suffering and death. On the blessed worlds, there is no suffering and death. Right? And the worthy, upon their death, or if they're still alive at the end of days, when this earth gets pelted or destroyed, people who are worthy at those times, one of the two times, get to go on to the blessed worlds, right? So if we go and read, I have 3 verses I'm going to read. One is actually the chapter of Revelation 21, but these other verses very quickly, right? So in Revelation 11:12, this is about the rapture, the rapture, when everybody ascends up, right? It says, and they heard a great voice out of the heaven saying to them, come up hither. And they went up to the heaven in the cloud, and their enemies beheld them. That's going to be a terrifying thing, whether you're just floating up, teleporting up, going up in a cloud, or going up in a chariot that's metaphorically a cloud. No matter how you're going up, that's going to be terrifying, and witnessing the destruction of the earth, because it says in the next verse, and in that hour came a great earthquake, right? So in John 14, it says in verse 1, let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God, also in me, Jesus, believe. In the house of my Father are many mansions, that's places to live. And if not, I would have told you. I go on to prepare a place for you. And if I go on and prepare for you a place, again do I come, meaning back to us, and will receive you unto myself, that where I am, up in the heavens, ye may also be. And whither I go away ye have known, and the way ye have known. Okay? So we know from other verses I don't have here to read today, but I've got my other videos and such. Everybody knows them. Jesus said that he's going back up to the heavens. And in another place, right after his resurrection, when he did his final ascension, it says that he would return in the same manner, right? And it says that he ascended up into the heavens. So he's going to return down from the heavens, right? Jesus said he's going to return to the heavens. There's lots of verses where it says this, right? In the verse where it says our citizenship is in the heavens. So there's too much evidence, right? So in the house of my Father are many mansions. This is off in the heavens where Jesus is, and he said he's prepared a place for us out there, this new world, this better world, this new earth. He's prepared that place, and he's going to come back to us, that's verse 3, and will receive us unto himself, that we can be there with him. That's what he says. Okay? Now if we go to Revelation chapter 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth did pass away. Now think about it. If we leave this planet and go to another one somewhere else, when we're on that planet, we're not going to see the same looking night sky. The heavens will have changed. Okay, so it says, I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth did pass away, and the sea is not any more. And I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God out of the heaven. And again, the heaven is where the sun, moon, and stars are, made ready as a bride adorned for her husband. I heard a great voice out of the heaven saying, Lo, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will tabernacle with them, and they shall be his peoples, and God himself shall be with them, their God. And God shall wipe away every tear from their eyes, and the death shall not be any more. Right? So, like I said, we get translated, or you're resurrected, and you resurrect as translated, but only the translated, those who have stopped being mortal and have become translated, only they can dwell in this heavenly place, right? And God himself will be with them, right? There'll be no more sorrow, no more pain, no more death. And then in verse 5, it says, He who is sitting upon the throne said, Lo, I make new all things, and he saith to me, Write, because these words are true and steadfast. And he said to me, It has been done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I, to him who is thirsting, will give the fountain of the water of the life freely. So this is the water, the fluid. We also have the tree of life. It says elsewhere in Revelation, we'll get to eat from, the worthy will get to eat from. And this is what will extend our life and make it perpetual when we're living in this new world, right? It also says in the Bible that only God alone, has outright immortality. I have a video on that where I look at the exact Hebrew and Greek terms for it respectively, okay? And it shows that there's different words for true immortality and non-actual immortality, right? And the only place where the word for true immortality is used is in the one verse where it says God alone has immortality. Okay, all the rest are about a life that's extended further by the fruit of immortality or the waters of life and so forth. But anyways, right? And it says, we could see that in this better world, anybody who's a sinner who partakes in this darkness is not allowed in. So he says, He who is overcoming shall inherit all things, and I will be to him a God, and he shall be to me the son. And to the fearful and unsteadfast, and the abominable, and the murderers, the whoremongers, the sorcerers, and idolaters, and all the liars, their part is in the lake that is burning with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Right? And then later, Come, I will show thee the bride of the Lamb, the wife. In verse 10, And he carried me away in the spirit to a mountain great and high, and did show to me a great city, the holy Jerusalem, coming down out of the heavens from God. Okay? So what this is, I worked it out. It's roughly about 120 miles across by 120 miles. It's square. Okay? And I think it's 120 miles high. But nonetheless, that's how big it is. It is a aerial city that will fly down from the heavens. Okay? This is what's going to happen. All right? This is what it says. So coming down out of the heaven from God, having the glory of God, and her light is like a stone most precious as a jasper stone, clear as crystal. So it's going to look like a giant crystalline city descending down from the cosmos. Okay? Having gates around it and so forth. And then the city lieth square. This is verse 16. The length of it as great as the breadth. And he did measure the city 12,000 furlongs. The length, the breadth, the height of it are equal. So I could be a bit off on the measurements. I went by furlong being 60 feet. I might be mixed up with a league. But nonetheless, it's blinking huge. Okay? It's absolutely huge. So anyways, going on. It talks about how it has all this great precious metals and gemstones through it. So it looks spectacular and all that. Let's go down further. And then in verse 22, And the sanctuary I did not see in it, for the Lord God, the Almighty, is its sanctuary and the Lamb. This is what a lot of people don't understand. Everybody's waiting for a third temple to be built. Jesus said there's not going to be a third temple. Jesus said that the third temple was his body. Okay, and it's through that sanctuary we commune with God. But people have missed that. But anyways, it says right here that in the heavens, in the world to be, there is no sanctuary. So what, you know what I mean? But people don't listen. They get led astray, right? So there is no sanctuary. And it says the city has no need of the sun nor the moon, right? So this is a city that doesn't need to have natural light. I think it's quite clear what the city is, right? For the glory of God did lighten it, and the lamp of it is the Lamb. Obviously, that's poetic, metaphorical talk. Right? But nonetheless, going on, it says, And the nations of the saved in its light shall walk. So even Gentiles, It's not going to be one group of peoples that are getting saved. It's out of all the different nations. Okay, those saved in its light shall walk, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And its gates shall not at all be shut by day, for night there shall not be there. And they shall bring the glory and the honor of the nations into it. And it says here, the final verse, and there may not at all enter into it anything defiling and doing abomination and a lie, but only those written in the scroll of the life of the Lamb. Okay? So it's very, very clear what the Bible says, right? There's lots of other verses that support it. I'm just keeping it as a short, brief lineup for tonight. So we are going to a new earth like that. These verses confirmed. There's a place up there prepared for us to live in. This earth is going to be destroyed essentially. It may not disappear, right? But it's going to be pummeled and it's going to be pelted. Just put it that way. Okay, it might get recreated. That's entirely possible. We might even return here. That's entirely possible. But what is absolutely certain is the Bible teaches in many places, not just these, that we will go on to a new earth. The worthy will go on to a new earth. Okay, so we have to be prepared for those things because that's going to be quite fantastic. Okay, maybe we're not going to be just teleported to a new earth. Maybe we're going to fly through space to this new earth. That's going to be a pretty incredible experience to go through. How long will that journey take? We don't know. Maybe it's going to be instant. We don't know. Right? But this is what we're going to be going through. Imagine you're on a new planet and you're never going to see Earth again. Imagine that feeling. That's got to be scary and intimidating, and that's what we're going to go through. This is what I mean. Everybody needs to stop and think practically and realistically. The end days do truly come. What are we going to go through? You know, what the bad people, what the unworthy will go through, that's a whole nother video for another day. That's too laborious. This is what the worthy will go through. Okay, and you also go through possibly seeing people that you care about or you may not even know, right? But you know, I'm a firm believer that eventually God's going to persist with each soul as hard as he can, as long as he can, until as many souls as possible will be saved. I mean, even after the judgment day if necessary, right? I'm not one of those self-righteous people who says, oh no, there's a cutoff time and after that you're doomed for eternity. I think God is so loving that he will still work with people and whatever. I'm just giving God credit with more lovingness, right? So I think God will always fight for people. I think if you fight against him, that's where you're extending your period in the place of suffering, right? But if you stop doing the bad and you turn to good, the Reformation, that's what will get you out of the suffering. Long story short. So anyways, everybody needs to reform from sin, turn away from the darkness, turn towards the light, live in the light, live in the goodness and the wholesomeness and the righteousness, and be a good person. The law of God's very simple. Just be a good person. Be good in all ways. So simple. You don't need buildings and temples and churches and books and fancy priests and fancy outfits and pulpits and all this fancy stuff. It's just be a good person in all ways, right? Very, very simple. If you're a good person, I believe that God will redeem you when the end of days come. If you've done bad things, well, the Bible teaches that if you stop doing the bad things and become a better person who doesn't do them anymore, then those sins will be forgiven. Okay, you still might receive some punishment for what you did, but you're not going to be barred from heaven. Okay, you have a chance at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so there's hope for everybody, no matter what you've done. And the key to it all is reforming from sin. The lesson that we're taught in the Bible is with Jonah and Nineveh, and it says that Jesus came to do the same thing as Jonah did. Okay, so there you go. You have to reform, or else all that wrath is going to be coming down upon you as well at the judgment day. So anyways, I firmly believe that the end of days is going to be 2024. So I urge everybody to go to Amazon, get my 2 books. I got these books here. So I urge everybody to go get these while you can for your own sake. The time is running out, but nonetheless, right? So, but at the end of the day, just be a good person, right? Be a good person in all ways. Don't justify what is bad because that's not a good thing to do. It's just so simple. Be good. Be good in all ways. If you use that as the defining rod, what the rod of discipline that defines and refines what you should do and what you shouldn't do is very, very simple. Be good in all ways. If there's something that's bad, you shouldn't be doing it. If you believe a dogma that says it's okay to do something bad for some reason, then you've been deceived. It's very, very simple. Just be good in all ways. If you're not being good in all ways, you've been deceived. Very, very simple, right? So, but anyways, get ready, folks, because I believe it's going to be coming soon. And, worst case scenario, I'm not right. You're still going to become a better person by reforming. So, you know what I mean? It'll do the world a favor. If everybody would just became good, the world would be a much better place. So it's a win-win situation. But if the end of days does come, at least you've been prepared and you have a greater chance of not being forsaken at the judgment. Okay, so anyways, folks, take care. God bless you all. And don't say I didn't warn you. I've been warning people for like 8 years now on YouTube. So anyways, take care, folks.